addressed the media at UNISA in Pretoria on the state of readiness for the National Convention.
To control a process that should truly belong to citizens and society in general. Since embarking on this journey, we have witnessed and received overwhelming support and contributions from many stakeholders. This has helped to reduce the cost of the National Convention. UNISA will be hosting the first National Convention and provided associated goods and services free of charge.
President Ramaphosa has meanwhile urged women to use the forthcoming dialogue to raise issues affecting them. In his letter to the nation, he says it's important to bring the challenges to the attention of the authorities. Tebogo has more.
This convention is the precursor to the national dialogue aimed at bringing South Africans together to discuss the kind of South Africa they want. President Cyril Ramaphosa says, like women who protested against the unjust past laws in the 1956 Women's March to the Union buildings, women of today must also take their plight to the authorities at the national dialogue. He has called on all sectors of society to ensure the full participation of all women in the national dialogue, insisting that this would be the most fitting and powerful tribute to the legacy of the pioneers of the 1956 Women's March.
Aid organizations say over 80% of Sudanese healthcare facilities are not functioning. This comes as the conflict between the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces continues to intensify. Recently, the RSF announced a parallel government. This is totally opposed by the army. International spokesperson of the Red Cross Committee in Sudan, Adnan Hazam.
They need peace. They need safe haven for them and their kids. As you know, this escalation of the conflict is enforcing them to leave their homes. They displaced for many times to reach the safe place, to find where they can. There is a lot of challenges. In Sudan, the same, we are facing the challenging of access, but through our dialogue and talks with the parties to the conflict, we try to have that access. We managed to support more than 2 million Sudanese with our assistance.
Australia has become the latest country to announce that it will recognise Palestinian statehood at the UN General Assembly in September. The Prime Minister Anthony Albanese added there was no future for Hamas in the Palestinian state. Albanese said the decision was prompted by the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza and Israel's expansion of illegal settlements in the West Bank.
The situation in Gaza has gone beyond the world's worst fears. Far too many innocent lives have been lost. The Israeli government continues to defy international law and deny sufficient aid, food and water to desperate people, including children. This vital aid must be allowed to get to the people who need it most.
For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Cholani Tulowebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Five minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Good afternoon and welcome to The Upside on Channel Africa, The African Perspective, with me, Tebogo, Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko, Mosito, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African Time. I tell you what, it's good to be back. Thank you so much for tuning in on this glorious, beautiful Monday afternoon. How's your day going? Hope you're having a fantastic one, a productive one, the start of the new work week, and we hope that it's going to end with a bang. but it must start off with a bang, and it starts with the upside this afternoon. Engage with us on our social media platforms. We are currently live on all social media platforms at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok and on X, and at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. If you have iOS or Android, download the SABC Plus app so you can take us with you wherever you go, and also catch up on some content that has been on the SABC platform for the longest time. I've found myself re-watching some favorites. Ustumo, Skud is nice. So many, I'm not going to list them all. Velapi. You can catch all of that on the SABC Plus app, including Channel Africa. And our WhatsApp line is always open to you. We'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening to us from this afternoon? +27 63 406 9126. It's a good afternoon to Mmatsheko. Mosito, how are you doing?
I'm good. How's it?
Good to see you again.
You too. How was your holiday?
We'll talk about it a bit later.
Okay.
Chat about it a bit later.
We can do later.
Fantastic. I tell you what, I recommend that you take a break every now and then.
Yes.
And if you do take a break, go to the bush, go to the bushveld, Anyway, that's my kind of thing. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you want the coast, but go to the bushveld. I love seeing the animal. It was fantastic. Anyway, but I'll tell you all about it a bit later. What's coming up on the show this afternoon? I understand that one of the first conversations we'll be having is we'll be focusing on the care in healthcare. You know how in private healthcare facilities, the doctors there get paid based on how many visits they've had, how many patients they've had, how many blood tests they've done on that particular day, and so on and so forth. But we are switching it up a bit and saying, why don't we start paying them to focus on caring for the individuals, the patients, to see them through to not just getting the treatment for the day, but so that at the end of it all, they have a better or healthier lifestyle or whatever the case may be, because when it comes to healthcare, it's not a one-off. You don't just get tested, get your medication for the day, and that's it. There's more to it. Can we start paying them to care? And that's the conversation that we'll be having, one of them anyway.
Yeah, that's a very important conversation, especially as we begin the week. The golden hour, we're going to be, in fact, before then, we are going to be looking at a story that's been trending on South African social media. So the Minister of Arts and Culture in this particular country, we're going to look at just a moment around him being involved in a podcast that was being derogatory towards coloured people in this country. So we're going to talk about that. What you post online can live for longer than you think. Okay, that is what we're going to leave you with, and that's going to be the conversation. And then as we get into the next hour, which is just after 2, we're going to be looking at what caught your eye. That's always
things.
Yeah, quite a few things. But also, what caught your eye is going to be more exciting now that Tebogo's back. You see, so
I've been watching your videos online on.
They've
been exciting.
Listen, I'm fine, but I just wanted to say that it's going to be more juicy now that there's a double header. So that's something to look forward to, and then we continue with conversations around Women's Month. Yeah.
Absolutely, because we will be joined by a wonderful lady. She's a transformational speaker, executive life and leadership coach, and the founder of Chateau Victoria, luxury sanctuary for soul restoration and lifestyle transformation. Her name is Mahotso Masingi Zondo. And her theme this month, as it is Women's Month in South Africa, her theme is Let's Return to Ourselves. And I think it's a rather powerful one that we need to all be listening into this afternoon. It's 10 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to The Upside.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu. wataalam, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800 428 428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
Africa, it's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the upside.
This is my decision. This is my decision. I don't think you listen. You listen. I don't think you listen. For me to come out, it must mean I'm a teacher. It must mean I'm not the same. It must mean I'm on your case. For me to come out, it means that I'm not the teacher. I want to show you my world. Give me one break, I need faith. Faith to believe you, faith to receive you. Give me something I'm lacking, I don't need nothing. You are my everything. Only me and you, only me and you, only me and you, only me and you, only me, only you, only me and you, only me and you, only me and you, only make me your matter, make me your matter, make me your matter. Show me substance, make me a person, make me a person. Give me one break, I need faith, faith to believe you, faith to receive you. Give me something I'm lacking, I don't need nothing. You are my everything. Only me and you, only me and you, only me and you, only me and you, only me, only you, only me and you, only me and you, only me and you, only me and you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me
Only me and you, only me and you and me. Thames there. It's us here on the Upside and you listening in on Channel Africa. This is the Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective. We are live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok and on X. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. You're asking about my holiday before we get into our first conversation. It's going to be a very important conversation about healthcare. Asking about my holiday. I tell you what, when you go to small towns, coming from Johannesburg, the big city, everything is efficient, convenient, whatever you need is just around the corner. You go to the smaller towns of the world, everything is slow-paced.
I love it. I
Right?
love it. That's the one thing. Do you know what I mean?
Right there.
I relate.
It's beautiful, but it's also frustrating when you get there. The first 2 days you must adjust because you want everything done now. Right? And so you place an order for takeaway, and then you, like, maybe an hour before you even get there. You get there, your food is not even ready yet. Then you still have to have conversations with the waiters, the people there waiting. Before you know it, you've developed a new network and connection because they are very pro-social engagements.
Yes.
In small towns. Everyone must know everybody there. You don't just show up there and play on your phone.
And they protect each other.
They protect each other indeed. And the quality of the food, they respect the ingredients. So a tomato tastes like a tomato, mostly because it probably came from a farm down the road. The beef tastes like beef. It's delicious. So I had to adjust. The Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi is going to be horrible. But after 2-3 days, you're like, you know what? The Wi-Fi will connect when it connects. I'll get my food when I get it. You start to adjust to that slower pace of life. And for me, I needed that. Because when everything is so quick here in Johannesburg, you need to just calm down a bit and go to the bush.
Listen, I think it's a birthright to be slow. Really. I mean, the way we are running around here every day.
Is quick, man.
It is
too fast-paced.
It's unnatural also. It just feels unnatural. That's why I'm like, it's a birthright to be somewhere where you can actually breathe the fresh air, when you can see the stars at night, where you can enjoy the tomato.
The tomato. And here's the other thing.
Why not?
Here's the other thing. Yes, it is a slower pace of life, but it's fantastic because your cortisol levels have dropped so much. When you are in a high-paced environment like we are in the Johannesburg, the Lagos of the world, everything is super quick. Everything needs to be done now and handled now. The phone rings, you must answer now. You must send that email now. You must deadline. Your cortisol levels are consistently high. So when you then step away from it all, you realize just how high it was, because all of a sudden now you can breathe properly. You can breathe in that oxygen. Your heart beats normally. And all of a sudden you can start appreciating your surroundings. Your eyes see better now because your stress levels have reduced.
Out of the comfortable tight dress. You out of the comfortable shoes. You're just comfortable, you see. So listen, we love that for you, Bush Baby. Thank you very much for reminding us that there is life outside what we used to. And I mean, you tell me all the time, listen, take the bush retreat, okay?
All the time.
Just do it.
Which you've never done.
Just take the bush retreat. Well, I'm so happy for you that you know so much about my life. But yeah.
Where did you go?
Let's take
Without
the bush
me?
retreat. Yeah?
Without me?
I go places, Galo. Without you.
I'm very disappointed that you went without me. But anyway, let's take a quick breather. It's 20 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside. On the Upside, your voice matters.
Moving through Mali in the most timeless way. Like this music, it sounds like it was released yesterday. Meanwhile, it's decades old. Salif Keita coming through with some beautiful ancestral soul music, as I love to call it. Sina Sombuya, the title of the song. It's, listen, Salif Keita is one of those artists. Now, if somebody were to tap you on the shoulder in the middle of the night and say, give me your favorite Salif Keita song, you honestly wouldn't know what to say. Because all of them are permanent favorites, all of them.
But also, isn't he called the golden voice of Africa? Is that
Indeed,
him?
he is.
Beautiful
that is him.
Voice, like a distinct. You already know that's Salif Keita. There's no one else but Salif Keita. But let's get into our conversation this afternoon. In South Africa's private healthcare system, the way we pay for care is shaping the way we receive it, right? And most doctors and hospitals still earn based on the number of visits, tests, or procedures they perform, not on whether patients actually get better. It's a model that drives up costs and fragments care, but a new approach led by the Value Care team and supported by PPO Serve is turning that on its head, paying healthcare teams to keep people healthy, not just treat them when they are sick. Already recognized by the World Health Organization, this model is proving its worth in cities across the country. We are joined now by Lungile Kasapato, CEO of PPO Serve, to unpack what value-based care really means for you and your family. Lungile, thank you so much for your time and welcome to The Upside. Oh, I think we've lost Lungile there, but we'll work on getting her on the line. A very important conversation, this, because... Oh, Lungile, good afternoon. Welcome to The Upside.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me to your show.
A very important conversation, Lungile. Let's talk about this value-based care, and how it is the way forward in the healthcare space.
So basically what value-based care does is it says, let's pause and let's have a look at what it is that we're paying for. Normally in healthcare systems, including our South African one, we pay for care using a model that we call fee for service. In other words, you perform a service and then you get paid for it. Nobody really looks at the outcome or the value that is being delivered for the patient. So value-based care simply says, let's relook, and instead of looking at the number of services that have been performed or the volume of services that have been performed, let us look at the value. And that value is clearly defined, and it's defined as the outcomes, the best outcomes for the patient, delivered at the lowest cost.
This is very interesting, considering, just how, when we watch the global healthcare systems, they seem to be falling apart. So I think this is a fine example of what is possible. So let's talk about this particular model in practice, Lungile. Talk to us about how it's actually going to work. And I think for me, what's really important to note is how it's actually going to change not only the patient's experience, but also that of the healthcare worker as well.
Yeah, so it really does change both the experience of the patient as well as the healthcare worker, because for the healthcare worker, for the very first time, the healthcare worker is actually reimbursed on the effort that is put into the work that they do. So not only are we looking, we don't just say you did this, but we say how sick is this patient? Because currently, for instance, if you are a GP and you see a patient, your payment is based on it's a consultation. So for every consultation, this is the amount of money that you get paid. However, when we come to value-based healthcare, we do take into consideration how sick the patient is, or how sick your population of patients that you are looking after is. And what this does is that it will improve our healthcare, because now we are going to be able to see the improvement in the outcomes. And there is no way that we can measure that we can see that the outcomes are improved without measuring them. So again, it comes back to saying, as we are delivering this care, what can we put in place to measure the outcomes? And let's measure the outcomes. And where the outcomes have been met, let us reward the clinicians who are doing the work. So the clinicians are actually paid for the value that they do, that they put into the work that they do. But also when they achieve the outcomes that have been set before them, we then reward them. And I'll explain further what those outcomes are when it comes to the value care team.
Please do, Lungile, because we are running out of time, unfortunately, and would like to have those key important information so that when we do make our decisions, we make it from an informed stance.
Okay, so when it comes to the value care team, what the value care team does is that it empowers the general practitioner. And it says, let us ensure that for our population, every patient receives the right level of care. So what that means is that if a patient who's got flu should not be at an ICU, for instance, I'm making an extreme example to make the case in point. So what that does is that when a doctor is allocated or a GP is allocated a population, we have to measure how sick the population is, or what is the disease burden index is for that population, and then we have to allocate the resources for this population based on how sick the population is, not based on what options the patients are on, or what the patients can afford, which is currently the way that we do it. We need to, what we then do as the value care team is we arrange or we organize the doctors into multidisciplinary teams, ensuring that those teams are made up of the clinicians that the population in case needs. And therefore, and then we start measuring the outcomes. And in this case, what we are doing is, as we are strengthening the primary healthcare sector, we're ensuring that the health of the population is optimized. When the health of the population is optimized, we are able to then reduce the downstream costs. In other words, only people that will need to go to the hospitals will actually get to go to the hospital, because patients are getting the benefits that they need at a primary healthcare level. So we're ensuring that there is we're ensuring that there is a prevention. We're ensuring that there is screening that is happening, and we're ensuring that the population is kept as healthy as possible, so that only when they need to go to hospital do they then go to hospital.
All right. It sounds like this is the future. It really does. Where can we go if we want to find out more information about this particular model and the work of PPO Serve?
You can go to our website, and our website is www.pposerve, P for Peter, O for Orange, and Serve for service. www.pposerve.co.za. So www.pposerve.co.za.
Okay, that sounds simple enough. Thank you so much for joining us, Lungile Kasapato, who is CEO of PPO Serve. It is 1:31. Let's check in with sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
This hour, the Mandela National Stadium will become more than a venue. It'll be a stage where two nations fight to keep their Total Energies African Nations Championship CHAN dreams alive. Uganda, fueled by the roar of their home crowd, will face Niger in a Group C showdown that could end one team's campaign before it has truly begun. The stakes are stuck. For Uganda, victory could propel them towards the knockout rounds. For Niger, defeat could send them home. Around 300 traveling Nigerian fans are expected to bring their colors, chants and drums into the cauldron that will be dominated by thousands of Ugandan voices. Uganda's head coach, Moli Bwegaso, says his team will not simply repeat the approach that secured their win over Guinea. Instead, they will tailor their game to blunt Niger's threat. Now on to cricket news. South Africa's star pacer Kagiso Rabada shone bright with a ball in the first T20 International against Australia to break Alan Donald's epic record. Rabada is on a trajectory to become South Africa's bowling maestro across all formats, and his recent performance in the first T20 International against Australia further cemented his reputation. Heading into the series with a fiery form, Rabada was unplayable, with the Australian batters unable to counter his varied skill set. The fast bowler is now just 1 wicket shy of reaching a century of dismissals against Australia. The only South African bowler ahead of him is Dale Steyn. And Proteas batter Ryan Rickleton admitted after their loss to Australia in the first of 3 T20 internationals that they would have had a chance to win the match had they not dropped Tim David on 56. David was let off the hook by Tristan Sharps on the boundary in the 16th over, and South Africa lived to rue that error as he went on to score a match-winning 83 for the host. Rickleton, who top-scored for the visitors with 71, was encouraged by how they took the game to the Aussies.
We created plenty of opportunities. I think if we took that one on Tim, when I think when he was on about 40 or 50, we could have bowled him out for 120, and that's a whole different game and a different conversation we're having. But I think the exciting thing is that, they came out guns blazing and we managed to create a lot of chances. So, that's quite exciting for us as a group. The fact that we could, pin such a formidable batting lineup down a little bit. So like I said, that's exciting. One or two things to probably tweak in the batting and just a bit more smart and hopefully, a bit better of a platform to start off.
And finally, with the rugby news, the 32-player Springbok women's squad for the 2025 Rugby World Cup in England was announced at the FNB Stadium in Nasrec at the weekend. The Bok women will play the 7th-ranked Italy and 4th-ranked France in their pool matches, but they start against Brazil on the 24th of this month. Vice-Captain Babalala Cha says this is the best-prepared Bok women team she has been involved with.
Yes, we've had struggles. We've struggled together. We've trained exceptionally hard together. If anything, that is what brings us closer as a group. But I am confident. I speak for the team, I would imagine, to say that we are as best prepared as we can be going into the World Cup.
For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figede Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África @ newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmassheko Mosito. Only on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
36 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Let's say good afternoon now to Nosipo Zuma, who has your business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news this hour, the African Development Bank will contribute $500 million towards the financing of a new airport in Ethiopia, which is expected to be Africa's largest when completed in 2029. State-owned Ethiopian Airlines has signed an agreement for the design of the 4-runway airport near the town of Bishoftu, around 45 kilometers southeast of the capital Addis Ababa. The airline says it will provide 20% of the funding for the $10 billion project, and the rest will come from creditors. The South African presidency says the total cost of hosting the national dialogue will only be made known after the conclusion of the National Convention's roadmap of the rollout of the event. It was responding to the public criticism of a reported $39 million reported cost of the event. Several foundations have withdrawn from the preparatory phase of the event, citing government overreach, a rushed timeline, as well as lack of transparency and a confirmed approved budget allocation. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says some of the foundations that form part of the dialogue proposed the amount to spend on the event.
Then the figure of over 700 million or 800 million came from some of the foundations. And immediately there was a great deal of discomfort on the side of the president and government. It's only after the National Convention has concluded the final roadmap of how the actual dialogue will roll out can we then work towards a final number. So as we speak, we do not know what the final budget cost will be for the national dialogue.
Women in South Africa's Limpopo province believe agriculture is the best solution for unemployment and poverty in the province. The country's unemployment levels remain high, with the latest figures sitting at 32.90% in the first quarter of 2025. Now, the women as well as young people in the province's rural areas are looking at entrepreneurship as a recourse. Basani Rivisi has decided to farm on a small portion of land that she obtained from her mother-in-law.
What led me to come here? I was so passionate in agriculture. When I started these things, it was like a lack of jobs when I came here. I wanted to do something on my own because at school I studied business management. So I just think, which business that I can do? Then I just suggested that I can do agriculture.
Meanwhile, a female commercial tomato farmer, Alicia Mamuliki from Mangani in the Limpopo province, says she encountered several challenges in her journey to becoming a farmer.
The challenges that I came across, number one, farming is very expensive. So for me to start here, I was helped by my parents. Then from then, I started saving money each and every year. Then I debused the other part that was not debused.
And finally, US-based multinational companies such as McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Amazon and Apple are facing calls for a boycott in India as business executives and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's supporters stoke anti-American sentiment to protest against US tariffs. India is a key market for American brands that have rapidly expanded to target a growing base of affluent consumers, many of whom remain infatuated with international labels seen as symbols of moving up in life. Your financial indicators: $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 531. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 39. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 129 shilling 564, and in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 81. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 43. Russia is 79 rubles 86. India is 87 rupees 64, China at 7 yuan 18, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 73. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, Gold is trading at $3,361 and platinum at $1,314 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $66.38 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Mosito Zuma.
In Channel Africa, the African perspective. Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
A Mauritanian appeals court has this week handed down a 15-year prison sentence and a hefty $3 million fine to the country's former president Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz for corruption, money laundering and illicit self-enrichment. The ruling upholds and escalates an earlier conviction from 2023, marking a significant moment in Mauritania's efforts to tackle high-level corruption.
In terms of the country fighting corruption, I think this case shows the seriousness of the country in trying to fight corruption. There is substantial evidence that indicates to the fact that he was corrupt. These cases are always very difficult to then be able to balance whether they're not politically motivated and also balancing the rule of law.
Nyasha Mpani, who's a project leader at the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation in South Africa.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. The Upside, taking the African perspective to fresh levels.
It is 43 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome back to The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. This time around, we're going to have a conversation about, you remember those posts that you used to make on social media back then when you commented on everything, you had an opinion about everything? What if it starts catching up to you in your professional space, where now whether you get a job or not depends on what you are posting and your viewpoints on certain conversations? Is that a fair analysis? Is that a fair benchmark to put on a person who posted something 10, 15, 30 years ago, where perhaps the maturity had not reached a mature level back then? They are much wiser now. Do we still hold them accountable for the tweets and the comments they made 5, 10 years ago?
That's a tricky one. I think it really is tricky, because you then need to involve a behavioral psychologist, because there are certain posts where you can, I look at some of my posts from 2010, for example, on Facebook, and they are cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't have to say that. There was no need. I could have just had a cup of coffee and kept it moving, type of thing. But there are just certain things that are, I think when it borders on criminality, that can make things a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But I think an innocent, maybe you said something inappropriate that was phobic in some way, whatever pre-phobic it was, you can learn from that behavior and move on. But if it's something, we touch wood, and God forbid, if it involved a weapon, violence of any kind, that is questionable. So it's very tricky. And also it just depends on what the employment space is looking for. What is your employer actually looking for? Are they looking for integrity? They don't care if you've got 6 criminal records, they just want you to get on with it. What are they looking for?
What about racial comments that you made 10, 15 years ago, and you had a specific viewpoint on a particular race? 15, 20 years later, do we still hold you accountable for those same racial slurs that you made back then? Do you think you might have, maybe you've changed, maybe you've become wiser, you now respect that particular race a bit more than you did back then? do we bring it back? And we bring this in light of Gayton McKenzie, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture in South Africa, whose past posts about black people has stirred up, the social media spaces. Now, going back however many years, 5-10 years ago, and they're bringing it back now and saying that he, as a minister, he should not even be holding any position. He must resign immediately because we can't have a minister who has this viewpoint, a racial viewpoint on a specific race. So then I ask, do we still hold them accountable for that 5-10 years ago?
Okay, let me try and be a lawyer in this courtroom.
All right. But you know what? I think better we get proper analysis from someone who knows a thing or two about this particular field that we find ourselves in. We're in conversation now with Rourke Wilson, a digital law consultant, about the effects that our past posts may have on us today in our professional lives. Rourke, thank you so much for your time and welcome to The Upside.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm so excited to dive into this.
Apologies, we were just rambling on, having our own debate.
In our own courtroom.
No, it was fascinating to listen to. Please, don't let me cut you guys off.
Apologies. Let's get straight into it, Rourke. When it comes to our past posts, do they have a leg to stand on? That's our companies that employ us, to either dismiss us or question our integrity based on the post that we made 5-10 years ago when perhaps we're not as mature as we are right now?
Oh, I mean, they absolutely can and they absolutely do. This isn't necessarily the case of an employer, but we did see it happen with Bianca Skumbi when she entered the Miss South Africa pageant a few years ago. And then someone went and dug through her Twitter timeline and found that she'd been posting racist and fat-shaming comments when she was 15 years old. She lost a few of her modeling contracts and was forced to withdraw from Miss South Africa as a result. So it is something that does happen. It's happened to cricketers. It happened to Ronaldo Ghost when he used the K word as well. He lost his seat as an MP as a result of what he was saying. It can happen.
Rourke, in your experience over the years, talk to us about let's stay on the racism issue, for example. And this example that we're bringing up. I mean, can racism or anything in the racial discrimination umbrella, as it were, can it be rehabilitated?
Absolutely. I mean, in many, many cases, especially if we look at like young white South Africans, it is definitely something that's learned and passed down from parents in some cases. And you bring up that point of can someone learn? Like in the case of Bianca Skumbi, she made those tweets when she was 15 years old. I can't remember. I don't know if you can remember yourself at 15, but I wasn't the nicest person when I was 15 years old. And I've learned and grown a lot in that space. However, in the case of Gayton, I mean, he did make these comments when he was 35 years old. You would think that someone should know better once they've reached that age. So I think that question of whether people can learn and grow really depends on when the mistake was made and what their behavior has been like since.
Yes.
And I think there's especially like a little bit of I think we've all fallen into a bit of a gotcha moment here, especially because Gayton was calling out racism himself. There must be some kind of satisfaction in seeing that he's guilty of it as well.
Well, we are currently in conversation with Rourke Wilson, a digital law consultant, and we are unpacking the impact or the effects that your past posts may have on your current professional life in light of the Gayton McKenzie story. But we also want to find out the everyday person, like you and me, struggling with employment because of comments we made 5-10 years ago. Is there a legal leg to stand on when it comes to these particular conversations and cases? It's 10 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. We continue the conversation right after this.
The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Young couples or young people that are getting married, we often hear of divorces, that they're getting divorced, and it's quite worrying because when we attend these weddings, we want to see these people flourish and celebrate 30-year anniversaries. What do you think is the main challenge that is facing newlyweds?
We say that tell me how you were raised and I'll tell you how you're loved. So when we see people getting married, that's not where the relationship actually starts. The relationship starts with how you were raised, what you were familiar with, because we are attracted to what we are familiar with. If you don't have a background where love was prominent, where love was authentic, it's going to be very difficult for you to manufacture that in later life. So our upbringing has something to do with it.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. Midday vibes, great programming, and good company. This is Channel Africa.
It's 9 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. Listen, your past posts that you've made, the comments that you've made, can far outlive you. Did you know this? Probably not, because you posted it 10 years ago. You forgot all about it until you now stand as a presidential candidate and people start, oh, Miss South Africa, or Mr. South Africa. And then they start digging up your past to find out what kind of human being you really are. And I don't know. I think people change. Should we not give them a grace period there? Like maybe if it wasn't the last 10 years, it's fine. If it wasn't the last 3 years, maybe not.
Maybe not quite. But yes, we've got an expert on the line, Rourke Wilson, digital law consultant, joining us so we can really just look at this from a legal lens, something more objective, if you will. Rourke, let's talk about just this fine line between personal posts and professional posts. Does the law differentiate between posts made in a personal capacity and those that are made in a more public or professional role, as it were?
No, absolutely not. And we've seen this happen time and time again in the digital space. If you mess up online, people will make it your employer or your institution's problem. I've seen so many disclaimers that people put in their profiles saying, oh, capacity. But with something especially racist online, people will come and make it your employer's problem. And in many cases, it can be argued then that by behaving like that, you breached your duty of good faith to your employer because you're associated with them. And by making this public opinion, you've now associated it, whether intentionally or not, with your employer, just because it's the internet and people will want to find out where you work so that you can be held to account.
Rourke, from a legal standpoint, how far back can they dig?
Oh, it depends on what you're digging for. I mean, in the court of public opinion, you can dig as far back as someone has a digital footprint. When it comes to civil matters, so I sue you, you've got a 3-year timeline usually before you can take action, and then for criminal matters, 20 years. So it's quite a large window. But even then, there might not be any legal repercussions, but there can definitely be social and reputational repercussions that come from it, from being tried in the court of public opinion.
Guys, I've heard the saying, if they are looking for you, they will find you. If they really want to dig up something, they will find it. So, Rourke, let's talk about deleted posts. Is there a way that these are still being used as evidence? How are they retrieved? I think also legally, from a legal perspective, is this allowed for you to dig up stuff that has been deleted, for example?
Oh, it depends on where it was. I mean, if it was put in a public platform on the first place, I don't think it would be illegal in any way to go and dig it up. You put it out in public there first. And then usually that'll be counting against you. But beyond that, we see it happening all the time. People will dig through, and I'm surprised that as a politician, he hadn't done an audit of his social media and gone and cleared out from before. Any 17-year-old who's had myself or Emma come and speak at their school will tell you that is the first thing you do after hearing our talk.
Oh, wow. Rourke, but some may say, we're allowed to express ourselves, freedom of speech. Where do we then draw the line? I mean, he is a politician, yes. And we're talking specifically about Gayton McKenzie here. He is a politician, but he's also a citizen. He's a human being who's got rights, and he has, free speech. At the time he was making these comments, are we still holding him accountable for that?
Yeah, I mean, even in his capacity as a citizen, all the politician stuff aside, what he said was really bad and unconstitutional.
Yeah.
This idea of freedom of expression as the Trump is an idea that has come from Trump in America, where in the US legal system, the freedom of speech is their overall overarching right. Nothing can trump that. However, in our constitution, there is no one overarching right. All of them have to be balanced against each other. So when you're practicing your freedom of expression, you need to make sure that you're not infringing on someone else's right to privacy, dignity, reputation. And it's using slurs like that arguably infringes the dignity of Black South Africans across the country.
Right. This is a very serious issue, and I think because everyone's got their little corner of the internet now, everyone's a superstar. You know, we've all kind of got to watch what we say. So are there any tips from a legal perspective, Rourke, that you can give us as to how we can manage and audit our digital footprints to avoid, these kinds of issues going forward?
Absolutely. I mean, the first tip I'd say is just don't say a slur online or in real life. That will help keep you out of a lot of trouble.
Right.
But the second thing I would say is use our billboard test. Before you're about to let anything exist in digital format, imagine it on a big whopping billboard outside of your house. It's got your face, your name, your title on it, and then next to that, whatever you're about to let exist in digital format. If you wouldn't put it on that billboard, don't let it exist online. Because once it's online, it can be seen by everyone. Even if you've got a private account with 10 followers, the screenshot exists. And trust me, if you have messed up, someone will want to screenshot and post that.
And they're very quick with the screenshots. Oh, my goodness.
They never forget. But Rourke, how do we remedy the situation? Say now you've been caught red-handed. Is there a way to correct it?
If you've been caught for saying slurs, the ways to correct it is firstly apologize. Don't try to deflect, apologize and take ownership. And I think take a look at yourself as to why you think that language like that is still okay and still permissible and something that you have the right to do. And then, second, try and learn and do better. I feel like people sometimes rally against the use of slurs, would rally for the use of slurs. It's my right to freedom of expression. And I just struggle to understand why people would want the right to be harmful. It's just something I personally struggle with.
Unacceptable. But I mean, this was just such a wonderful masterclass. Thank you very much, Rourke. I think we've all learned a thing or two. And I think it's so sad that we've got to now teach ourselves how to be decent human beings.
Basics of human.
I mean, but it is what it is. This happens. We don't all come from the same home, town, if you will. So thank you very much, Rourke. And thanks for the time.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you. Rourke Wilson, digital law consultant, really talking to us about issues surrounding behavior on social media and how that can come back and really just bite you in places you didn't even think would hurt.
One day you are going to be the leadership of some, maybe not party, but movement, right? I believe this one day. Is there anything currently on your online presence, on your online platform, that could be used against you right now as it stands?
My personal...
I'm asking you.
No. Absolutely nothing.
This is live and it goes throughout the whole world on www.channelafrica.co.za. It's everywhere. It's captured.
On the World Wide Web.
On the 11th of August, 2025, you are saying, as it stands, your digital footprint is squeaky clean.
Absolutely nothing. No, nothing. I'm fully dressed in all my pictures. I'm kind and thoughtful to other human beings. Okay, and you safe? I'm safe. I'm safe. I think you're safe.
No. Also, in a very annoying way, because I remember my digital footprint on Instagram. I used to just do a lot of motivational quotes and things like that. So you're not going to find me giving personal opinions about things that are happening on the ground. I hardly ever do that on my social media platforms, and especially now using it as a business platform, I don't do more personal narration there. It's 2 p.m. Central African Time. Jolani Tulongwepe is standing by with the news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories: a Saba reaction to protests in Côte d'Ivoire, and Al Jazeera condemns Israel for assassination of its journalists in Gaza. Good afternoon. Representatives of African People's Party of Cote d'Ivoire, or PPACI, Dr. Jean-Nazir Oyoru, says there is likely to be post-election violence. Thousands of Ivorians took to the streets in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, to protest against the exclusion of opposition leaders from the upcoming presidential election in October. Earlier this year, 4 main opposition figures, including former President Laurent Gbagbo and former Credit Suisse chief Tidjane Thiam, were barred from running by the Electoral Commission. Last month, 83-year-old Alassane Ouattara announced that he would seek a 4th term. Oyuru explains.
Now, given that the ongoing exclusion of key candidates, outrage from the opposition, and historical precedent of violence following contested terms, I am afraid if nothing is done, I think that we are running into some violence again, unless the government just come back and set some talks to ease all these anger from the opposition leaders and the population.
South Africa's National Convention Organising Committee says the withdrawal of the legacy foundations is not a blow to the process to hold a national dialogue, as announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The committee held a media briefing in Pretoria this morning ahead of the first national convention, which is expected to attract around 1,000 delegates and 200 organisations. Last week, the foundations that include the Thabo Mbeki and Desmond Tutu Legacy Foundation withdrew their participation from the National Convention, calling it rushed. A member of the convention, Mmatsheko Ditlhake, says that this process is not about the foundations but ordinary South Africans.
The National Convention must happen so that South Africa's people can take ownership and control of the national dialogue. Invitations have gone out to organizations across the country.
We do apologise for that incorrect soundbite. President Ramaphosa has meanwhile urged women to use the forthcoming national dialogue to raise issues affecting them. In his letter to the nation, he says it's important to bring the challenges to the attention of the authorities, this as organisations from across the country will gather in Pretoria to kickstart the national dialogue. Ndebo Mokobo has the story.
Is the precursor to the national dialogue aimed at bringing South Africans together to discuss the kind of South Africa they want. President Cyril Ramaphosa says, like women who protested against the unjust past laws in the 1956 Women's March to the Union buildings, women of today must also take their plight to the authorities at the national dialogue. He has called on all sectors of society to ensure the full participation of all women in the national dialogue, insisting that this would be the most fitting and powerful tribute to the legacy of the pioneers of the 1956 Women's March.
Aid organisations say over 80% of Sudanese health care facilities are not functioning. This comes as the conflict between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces continues to intensify. International spokesperson of the Red Cross Committee in Sudan, Adnan Hazam.
They need peace. They need safe haven for them and their kids. As you know, this escalation of the conflict is enforcing them to leave their homes. They displaced for many times to reach the safe place, to find where they can. There is a lot of challenges. In Sudan, the same, we are facing the challenging of access, but through our dialogue and talks with the parties of the conflict, we try to have that access. We managed to support more than 2 million Sudanese with our assistance.
And finally, Al Jazeera has condemned Israel for what it called the targeted assassination of its journalists in Gaza, calling it a desperate attempt to silence the voices exposing the impending occupation of the territory. The BBC's Yonan Dinel has the story.
We haven't really had any explanation for killing the other journalists with Anas Asharif, because there were 6 people killed altogether, 5 of them from Al Jazeera. So an entire Al Jazeera news crew basically have been eliminated.
Recapping the top story this hour, a representative of African People's Party of Cote d'Ivoire, Dr. Jean-Nazir Oyoru, says there is likely to be post-election violence in the country. Thousands of Ivorians took to the streets in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, to protest against the exclusion of opposition leaders from the upcoming presidential election in October. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel African News, I'm Cholani Tulo Webe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Well, this is us in the golden hour of the upside. We're 7 minutes into 2 p.m. in Central African time. Thank you very much for tuning in. It is wonderful to be in your company this afternoon. You know, Mondays, almost said Tuesdays, oh my goodness. Mondays are dedicated to property focus, okay? Whether it's entrepreneurs in property or just frequently asked questions from wherever you are in the African region around how to buy property, you know, how to invest in property. That's become quite a big, beautiful space where people are exploring more and more what property investment looks like. But today we are looking at award-winning achievers within the space of property, okay? This afternoon, we're going to be catching up with a feminine who has done so many wonderful things. Not only is she a mama and has just done so many amazing things in her personal life, but in her professional capacity, she is an award-winning property specialist. And we're going to be catching up with her. Her name is Patricia Chitema, and we're going to be finding out more about her journey in the property space. I know she used to dabble in other fabulous things back in the day, but today we really are going to be looking at property, most importantly, and also what these achievements that she's gotten over the years, what those mean for her growth and prosperity in the space of business. I think for me, what's going to be significant around the conversation with Patricia is also feminine participation in property, what that looks like. Are we actually making significant strides? Do we have something to celebrate around the growth of women and their participation in a meaningful manner in the space of property?
Well, she made history at the 24th Nedbank Oliver Top Empowerment Awards, walking away with not one, but two prestigious titles: Top Empowered Company, Fast Growth Black-Owned SMME of the Year, and the Richard Fletcher Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Those are some accolades to her name. She's already an accomplished, well-decorated property developer, and now these awards are just going to take her to another level. We'll be getting into conversation with her about property development and the representation of women in the space. How well are we in ensuring that women's voices are heard in the property space, and are they assuming positions of power and influence in the property space? I was just at an estate in Pas Bilabila, and I was driving around. It's a beautiful estate, by the way, and I could not help but notice the specific race and demographic that was in that particular estate. I hardly saw any black people there. A very well-off reserve, beautiful houses, over 700 lodges in Mabalingwe. That's the name, Mabalingwe Nature Reserve. And we're asking ourselves, is there representation? Are the opportunities made equal and available to everyone? And most importantly, we'll be celebrating her amazing achievements. It's 10 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the upside.
Sweet melody. When I just found my way to you, anytime when you hear my coco, tell me what you gonna do. You should run to me. I'm on set, I wanna book a shape, yo. It is troubling me. I'm so scared, I'm gonna lose my baby, yo. Keep some trust for me. I know be that type of fake where man. I go fight for thee. Do anything to keep you, my baby. Consina, puni, pick, check out my hope. You know, go live for me to a man when somebody go give you flower shape. You know, go live for me, go. You know I'm so loyal, baby mo. You know I'm so loyal, baby mo. Baby mo. You know I'm so loyal, baby mo. You know I'm so loyal.
It's 14 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Loyal there by Chela. This is the Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. It's our Monday edition. How are you doing on this wonderful Monday afternoon? Are you having a productive day so far? Let us know where you're streaming us from on our WhatsApp line, +2763 406 9126. It is Women's Month in South Africa, and we are shining a light on women who are doing extraordinary things in their respective fields. And because it is a Monday, we step into the property corner and we speak to a woman who is so well accomplished, and not just accomplished, she's recently been crowned Entrepreneur of the Year at Mmatsheko will tell you the awards ceremony in a second, because we need to celebrate Black excellence, African excellence. Let's celebrate it in all spheres of life.
Absolutely. Very excited this afternoon. We're going to be celebrating, as Tebogo has mentioned, a trailblazer is what I want to call her. When we look at South African business landscape overall, our guest this afternoon is definitely right up there. Her name is Patricia Chitema, co-founder and CEO of Bonner Property Group. And she's made history with a rare double win at the 24th Nedbank Oliver Top Empowerment Award. Yes, try and say that twice. Honored as both the Top Empowerment Company, Fast Growth in Black-Owned SMME of the Year, and the Richard Fletcher Entrepreneur of the Year with a foundation in environmental science and nearly 2 decades in senior management. She has carved out her place in a very male-dominated world of property development, focusing on affordable housing, as well as partaking in the space of student accommodation as well. So she's really meeting the needs of real people and community, as it were. And I think that's what makes her noteworthy and worthy of these achievements. Her influence extends beyond business through the Opal Student Empowerment Foundation, which equips youth with education as well as property skills for the future. The one and only Mrs. Patricia Chitema joins us on the line. Let's talk about her vision, her journey, her resilience, all the good stuff. Patricia, welcome to Channel Africa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And thank you for such a beautiful, beautiful introduction.
You are deserving. You are deserving. Happy Women's Month to you. I think first things first, how do you feel? I know that you're not new to awards, but I think, you know, at this level and the hard work that you've put in, I'm sure it just doesn't get old to win an award. How are you feeling?
Wow. I've been asked this question quite a lot over the last few days.
Right.
I'm truly grateful for the recognition. And I think this is testament to what hard work does. Sometimes we work so hard thinking nobody's looking. But this, for me, confirms that people are looking and they are encouraged by the kind of work I do. So I'm grateful and I'm honored to be the one who receives the most prestigious award of the day on that night.
A rare double, actually, Patricia. Congratulations for those wins. We want to go back to your roots. Because I'm sure as we are listening in right now and those listening in at home, they want to be inspired by your story. We are now celebrating the accolades, but where did it all begin? Because you were an environmental scientist at some stage. Then you found your way into property development and investment. How did that happen?
Yeah, I really did well in my environmental management space. My first degree was horticulture, and then I went back to school, did master's in environmental management, worked in government institute, and I did quite well. But you know, when you're doing something and you just know that something is missing. So I've always known that I'm not fulfilled, even though I was doing well, the perks were good.
Yeah.
And I kept a lot of young people around me. And I saw myself taking money from my salary. This is my family's money, and giving it to the young people. I would assist them with their education or whatever they need for their empowerment. And when that started happening, I knew I need to start preparing myself into a space in which I'll be able to be a youth empowerment advocate without stealing from my own family. So if I wasn't stealing from my family, I don't think the idea of property would have come. But so when I realized that's what was happening, I needed to think out of the box. But I had bought and sold properties before. So it wasn't a new industry for me. It was something familiar. And when I sold my first townhouse and I made 150,000 in my bank account that particular day, I'm like, this I'm going to revisit. And that's how the property came in to say, I once did this, got money by selling one townhouse. Maybe if I start doing properties, I'll be able to make enough money to sustain my life and that of my family whilst I empower the young people without compromising either. So that's basically how it all started.
You are just listening. You are really listening to the voice of God, and nothing is ever waste. In fact, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about, how everything that you've qualified in has assisted your thinking in terms of community development through property. We're speaking to Patricia Chitema in her capacity as the co-founder and CEO of Bonner Property Group. I beg your pardon. Award-winning co-founder and CEO of Bonner Property Group.
Multi-award.
Dan, we'll be right back.
This August, we celebrate the strength, brilliance, and unstoppable spirit of African women.
It was the women themselves who strove for and got the changes by lobbying, going through NGOs, and by networking.
That's you, ladies. From the boardroom to the classroom, from the marketplace to the microphone, women are leading, innovating, and transforming our continent every day.
Oh, here's to knowing that as a woman, your voice can change the world.
Your voice matters. Your story inspires. Your presence is powerful. This Women's Month, we honor you. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
The Upside, your afternoons just got even better.
Bantu Biko Street by Simpiwe Dana. Ndi ready. Simpiwe, 20 years in song. So what emotions come up when you hear that, hey, you've been doing this for 20 years now?
It almost feels like no time has passed, eh? I just, I know obviously time has passed, but I don't feel it. Even about my age, I'm 45. I always get shocked when I think, oh my God, in 5 years' time, I'll be 50. Because for me as an artist, it's almost like when it comes to certain things, time stands still. And as a result, you find that a lot of artists are very childlike, which, helps them to always have a fresh approach to issues.
I tell you what, I'm feeling healed just by that.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are The Upside. Your afternoons just got even better, fresh and exciting. The Upside, hooking you up with today's news from an African perspective.
23 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time, we are still in conversation with multi-award winning Patricia Chitema. From environmental scientist to powerhouse property developer. She won 2 rare awards in one night at the 24th Nedbank Oliver Top Empowerment Awards, walking away with not 1 but 2, like I said, the Top Empowered Company, Fast Growth Black-Owned SMME of the Year, and the Richard Fletcher Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Let's find out a bit more about Bonner Property. I wanted to not just ask about the property itself, Patricia, but I wanted to find out the vision. You specialize in affordable student accommodation at Bonner Property Group, but what was the vision from the inception point to where it is right now?
It was to be in a space in which we create accessible, affordable, state-of-the-art and fit-for-purpose accommodation facilities across Africa. But coupled or added to that, we also want to provide affordable housing. The affordable housing is the market that in South Africa is termed to those who earn 20,000 and below, and is also subsidized by the government. So that is the market in which, when we started, we looked at, and our vision solely focuses on that to date. And that is why it was so, I wouldn't necessarily say easy, it was attainable for us to enter the space and make the impact we've made, because we looked into the space which is more in need in South Africa. It is in high demand in South Africa, the student accommodation and affordable housing, because most people fall into that category in order for them to afford a house.
Just to build on your...
That's what our vision was. mainly focused on.
Right. Right, Patricia. Just to build on that response around, you really wanting to make housing accessible to people of a certain demographic, as it were. Let's talk about, because I don't think anything is ever a waste. You've got this environmental science background. Is there any way that has shaped how you approach sustainability, especially when we look at themes around property and affordable housing?
Oh, yes. And not only that, for you to even think of developing properties or changing land to its natural form. In South Africa, there are environmental management acts that governs how you should do it. There are things or compliances that are required from you. So because I'm from that space and in government, I know exactly what compliances are required for any kind of development. And I don't have to outsource those services because developing environmental authorizations, documents and processes is very expensive. So I'm able to do those on my own and do my own submissions. I'm able to go to the correct or relevant departments in government for approval for these developments to happen. So the experience was no waste at all. And when we talk sustainability or climate change measures, that is what I was dealing with in government. So I ensure that whatever property we're developing complies with all these requirements. Because if you do that, you will also get benefits in line with environmental climate change measures, not just South Africa, but globally. So yes, it helps me. I do these things on my own. I don't have to go and consult to make sure that we're in compliance. I'll just do them internally and make all the submissions and get the authorizations required.
Knowledge is power indeed. Patricia, not only are you running a successful business, you're also actively contributing to social causes. Tell us a bit about the Opal Students Empowerment Foundation.
Wow, that's my baby. That's the reason why I wake up every day to do what I do. I don't want to wake up every day to deal with brick and mortar. I know that's what I do in order for me to get income, but to wake up every day to do that, I wake up every day to ensure that the youth of South Africa are getting opportunities to be empowered and be the best they can be. So the foundation was formed way before the actual property company was formed, where I was taking from my own pocket to empower young people. So by the time the company, the property, Bono Property Group came, the foundation was already there, but not formalized. Now it's a registered foundation which complies with SARS and the Department of Social Development. We deal with different aspects of empowerment. We do academic excellence or tutoring services. So we hire young people to do tutoring services, and we pay them a stipend at the end of the month. We have leadership development programs. We've got financial literacy programs, wellness programs. We also host one of the well-known Mr. and Miss Opal students, which is annually. It's coming in the next 2 weeks. We also host one of the biggest gala dinners, which we term Academic Excellence Awards. We run it solely through the foundation, and students who are performing well in any other industry that would have been identified in that year, they then get to be identified and awarded on that night. And those that did well at university, they also get recognition on that particular night. But seeing young people being the lecturers in these in the foundation, helping others in science, in math, in accounting, and engineering, all these subjects that are deemed difficult, but having our own young people giving extra curricular services and getting a salary from us, there's nothing better than that. When we talk of wellness programs, like your aerobics, we run fun walks. Young people run those programs for us, and they get stipend from the foundation. And when they get this stipend, it helps them to prepare themselves then for exposure into the job market. And by the time they leave that stream, they're so well prepared, the next person is coming to get the same benefit from them. So the foundation has really changed the lives of so many young people. It is the reason why even if I got these recognitions by so many institutions, because here I have a property company that when it gets benefits,
through its foundation, it goes everywhere in South Africa and change the lives of young people. That is the reason why I do what I do.
You are giving me all kinds of goosebumps and hope, Patricia, because, I mean, the next Aliko Dangote, the next Richard Maponya, the next Mike Adunuga is definitely feminine. Definitely female. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You're definitely in that league of African prominent, figures when we look at African business and also African business with a purpose. So this was wonderful having a conversation with Patricia Chidema. I think we've lost her now, but she knows how much we appreciate her as the co-founder and CEO of Bonner Property Group, and she's multi-award winning as well. It is 2:31. Figilile Ngwati, what's happening in sports?
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Tell you what, its progression in the group is the main goal for Bafana heading into the second game in Group C in the African Nations Championship Chan tournament against Guinea later today. The two teams clash at the Nelson Mandela National Stadium in Kampala, Uganda at 1600 hours Central African time. After earning a point in a hard-fought 1-1 draw against group favourites Algeria on Friday, Bafana come to today's encounter with a lot of hope. Head coach Mulifinseki's side says it's important that they start to make their mark in this 5-team group.
So I think it will be a highly technical game. We have seen Guinea playing the last 2 matches, winning the first game and also losing against the host Uganda in the last match. I think we'll be going into this game fully aware that they are a very offensive team. They've got some very good individual players that can hurt you anytime given a chance. So we'll always give respect to the team and also zoom into those individuals in terms of how we want to play offensively, how we want to play defensively.
Guinea, who are currently placed third in the group with just 3 points from 2 matches, were hammered 3-0 by the host Uganda in their last game. But it's a result that Ntseki and his team are not reading too much into, given the quality of their opponents and where they are placed in the group.
We are looking forward to a very improved performance from the last game. As of now, we are placed number 4 in the group because we only have 1 point. So we are fully aware that we can't be at the bottom of the group. We have to dig deep in the next match we're going to play. And also looking forward to the 3rd game and to the 4th game. All the teams have got 3 points.
On to rugby news. The 32-player Springbok women's squad for the 2025 Rugby World Cup in England was announced at the FNB Stadium in Nasrec. The Bok women will play the 7th-ranked Italy and 4th-ranked France in their pool matches, but they start against Brazil on the 24th of this month. It will be the 5th time South Africa competes at the World Cup, and arguably the first time they go into the tournament as organized as they currently are. Vice Captain Babala Lacha says this is the best prepared Bok women team she has been involved with.
Yes, we've had struggles. We've struggled together. We've trained exceptionally hard together. If anything, that is what brings us closer as a group. But I am confident. I speak for the team. I would imagine to say that we are as best prepared as we can be going into the World Cup.
And golf news. South Africa's Dean Burmester sank a 6-foot birdie putt on the first playoff hole to beat Jan Rahm and Joselle Ballester and capture Live Golf Chicago on Sunday at Bolingbrook Golf Club in Chicago. Burmester's second victory on the Live Tour didn't come easily as he had a bumpy beginning with bogeys on the first 3 holes to blow his 2-shot lead entering the final round. He recovered 3 strokes with birdies at the par 4 5th hole, the par 5 12th hole and the par 4 16th and made par on the other holes. His round of even par 71 got him to 9 under 204 and in the playoff where Spaniards Rahm and Ballester also advanced after they played together in the final group. The 2 playoffs on Sunday was just the second time that's happened on the Live Tour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
36 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's hand over the mic now to Nosipo Zuma for business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news, SASAWA, the General Industry Workers Union of South Africa, GIWUSA, is calling for strict price controls on essential food items. It also wants the nationalization of the manufacturing of food to mitigate the effects of food inflation. The union has expressed outrage at a report from the Agricultural Business Chamber, AGBIZ, showing that food inflation has jumped to 4.7%, a 6-month high. GIWUSA President Mmatsheko says this is a brutal assault on the poor and the working class.
It is catastrophic because what you are looking at is not just the price of food in general. It is the fact that it is precisely those essential bodybuilding, proteins and vegetables, as well as staples like maize, meal and sons that have actually skyrocketed.
The South African presidency says the total cost of hosting the national dialogue will only be made known after the conclusion of the National Convention's roadmap of the rollout of the event. It was responding to the public criticism of a reported $39 million reported cost on the event. Several foundations have withdrawn from the preparatory phase of the event, citing government overreach, a rushed timeline, as well as a lack of transparency in a confirmed approved budget allocation. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says some of the foundations that form part of the dialogue propose the amount to spend on the event.
The figure of over 700 million or 800 million came from some of the foundations, and immediately there was a great deal of discomfort on the side of the president and government. It's only after the National Convention has concluded the final roadmap of how the actual dialogue will roll out, can we then work towards a final number. So as we speak, we do not know what the final budget cost will be for the national dialogue.
Women in South Africa's Limpopo province believe agriculture is the best solution for unemployment and poverty in the province. The country's unemployment levels remain high, with the latest figures sitting at 32.90% in the first quarter of 2025. Now, the women, as well as young people in the province's rural areas are looking at entrepreneurship as a recourse. Basani Rivisi has decided to farm on a small portion of land she obtained from her mother-in-law.
What led me to come here? I was so passionate in agriculture. When I started these things, it was like a lack of jobs when I came here. I wanted to do something on my own because at school I studied business management. So I just think, which business that I can do? Then I just suggested that I can do agriculture.
The African Development Bank will contribute $500 million towards the financing of the new airport in Ethiopia, which is expected to be Africa's largest when completed in 2029. State-owned Ethiopian Airlines has signed an agreement for the design of the 4-runway airport near the town of Bishoftu, around 45 kilometers southeast of the capital, Addis Ababa. The airline says it will provide 20% of the funding for the $10 billion project, and the rest will come from creditors. Your financial indicators: one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 531. In Botswana is 13 pula 39. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 564, and in Zambia it's 22 kwacha 81. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 43. Russia is 79 rubles 86. India is 87 rupees 64. China it's 7 yuan 18, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 73. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,361 and platinum at $1,314 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $66.38 a barrel.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Young couples or young people that are getting married, we often hear of divorces, that they're getting divorced, and it's quite worrying because when we attend these weddings, we want to see these people flourish and celebrate 30-year anniversaries. What do you think is the main challenge that is facing newlyweds?
We say that tell me how you were raised and I'll tell you how you love. So when we see people getting married, that's not where the relationship actually starts. The relationship starts with how you were raised, what you were familiar with, because we are attracted to what we are familiar with. If you don't have a background where love was prominent, where love was authentic, it's going to be very difficult for you to manufacture that in later life. So our upbringing has something to do with it.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
A Mauritanian appeals court has this week handed down a 15-year prison sentence and a hefty $3 million fine to the country's former president Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz for corruption, money laundering and illicit self-enrichment. The ruling upholds and escalates an earlier conviction from 2023, marking a significant moment in Mauritania's efforts to tackle high-level corruption.
In terms of the country fighting corruption, I think this case shows the seriousness of the country in trying to fight corruption. There is substantial evidence that indicates to the fact that he was corrupt. These cases are always very difficult to then be able to balance whether they're not politically motivated and also balancing the rule of law.
Nyasha Mpani, who's a project leader at the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation in South Africa.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. No matter where you are, Channel Africa is always with you.
Enough.
Niache, nipike niache, vanisali ni trompaka, anarudi tena. Niache, nipike niache, vanisali ni landaka, anarudi tena. Vanessa, nini inakuleta, nini ulisabwaka, nini inakuleta. Vanessa, nini inakuleta. Nini ulisabwaka, nini inakuleta. Oshininga bambongo, obimi singa yuma, oyoki singa soni, nini lisusu oye koluka. Vanessa, we ule ulienda tengekuwa ilinasa, aungerudi kunililia. Bese kujali, I'm so busy with my new wifey. Bese kotake, I'm busy enjoying my life. Nikaduru, kanenda kanarudia. Nikaduru, kanenda kana. Vanessa, nini inakuleta. Nini ulisabwaka, nini inakuleta. Vanessa, Vanessa, nini inakuleta, nini ulisawaka, nini inakuleta.
Vanessa, the remix there by P-Sun featuring Inos B. It is now 46 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome back to The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Catch us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok and X as well, where you can see some of our tweets during the day. Send us a voice note. We'd love to hear what caught your eye this afternoon. Our WhatsApp line is +27 63 406 9126. It is time for What Caught Your Eye.
See why I'm so excited that you're back.
Thank you very much.
I mean, so much color. Love it.
Here's what caught my eye. It's not something that had color. It's a very sad situation that happened this past, when was it? The 3rd of August. This was the 3rd of August. And when I saw it, my initial response was, but what were you doing there? What were you doing there? So here's the story. A Texas millionaire flew to South Africa for a trophy hunt, specifically a buffalo trophy hunt. But it was the buffalo that had the final say. And I'm going to start off by asking the question, is trophy hunting helping in conservation, or should it be banned completely? So let's get into the story. A man by the name of Asher Watkins, 52-year-old Texas ranger and an experienced big game trophy hunter, during his safari trip to Limpopo in South Africa, he was fatally gored by a Cape buffalo he was tracking. So with him was an experienced tracker and also another hunter, if I'm not mistaken. So it was 3 people. During this particular hunt, they were stalking and trying to find this buffalo, a Cape buffalo, very dangerous animal, one that has killed many people before. And it appears that he was stalking him, managed to find him, or see it, but somehow something went wrong. This buffalo attacked him, so he now became the hunted. And the crazy thing about a buffalo is that when a buffalo attacks you, it attacks you to kill you. It doesn't attack you as a warning. An elephant, you can sort of say it will give you a warning charge. A rhino may give you a warning charge. But a buffalo does not. A buffalo will trample on you and stomp on you until you die. First, it will hit you with the big horns, which no bullet can penetrate. By the way, that's a very hard material. And so he got attacked, thrown to the ground, and he was killed. My issue with that is the statements that were made by the safari company that was taking him into the bush. The CV Safari is what they call themselves. They made a statement saying that he was killed by a buffalo charging him at 56 kilometers per hour. First of all, who took out a speed gun? And how fast is this? How fast is it coming? And where was it coming from, this buffalo, when all three of these men should have had guns or rifles with them? How did it just attack him? There must be a whole investigation that will ensue from this passing and this incident. But I want to know, from a hunting point of view, trophy hunting point of view, is trophy hunting helping in conservation, or should it be banned? And I'll continue this after we take a break, because trophy hunting for conservation purposes is a real thing. And I'll tell you why right after this.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Ilikuchukua muda gani kuweza kukamilisha kazi hii?
Kwa kweli ndugu mtangazaji, tunapitia changamoto nyingi sana mpaka nikamilishe hii ngoma. Nilifanya takriban miezi miwili.
Na sababu ni nini?
Ni ukosefu wa management. Sababu tunajituma, ni kitu ambacho kiko ndani ya moyo wetu, na kosa ule atakayetusaidia, lakini kitu kama kiko ndani ya roho hawezi kata tamaa. Hiyo ndio sababu tunanishindwa sana.
Na wimbo wenyewe unaenda kwa jina gani?
Wimbo unaitwa Aringa.
Aringa, ni ujumbe gani ulio ndani ya wimbo huo?
Naambia wakina dada wale wanaoachika na wengine kutaka kuachika waliokuwa ndani ya ndoa zao. Ila nikasema kwamba wangu ringa, acha kuhangaika, usiwahi kutoka hapa, usitoke huko na mimi. Wenzako wanahangaika waliotoka ndani ya nyumba zao.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
The Upside with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito, bringing Africa's voices to the world. On Channel Africa, the African perspective.
All right, it is 8 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African Time. It's time we continue with what caught your eye. I'll stick to my story. I'll wrap it up quickly about a Texan-based American who came to South Africa to trophy hunt a buffalo, and instead he became the hunted and the buffalo killed him.
First of all, you catch a flight. And you come and plummet to your own death, which really just doesn't make sense to me. But it's Women's Month, and I want to be a smart feminine. But I really don't know what is trophy hunting. What is that?
Good question. So trophy hunting, we'll keep it simple. I'm not going to give you the dictionary terminology.
Yeah, keep it 4-year-old.
Trophy hunting is hunting rare or animal, and it doesn't have to be a rare animal. It's hunting animals for the purposes of sport, fun. You're not hunting them because of food. So you're not hunting it to get food. You're just hunting it for fun, for sport, so that you can hang their head or their skull in your living room. That's what trophy hunting is, right? So the reason why I said does it help in conservation is because there are some reserves that have an overpopulation of a specific animal, overpopulation of a specific species. Maybe elephants. Let's give the Botswana example, where there are overpopulation of elephants. So in a particular reserve, because they know there's too many elephants there, they need to cull the numbers. They need to get rid of them. Otherwise, they destroy the vegetation. So they may ask or put out a flyer and say, hey, we allow hunting here at our reserve so that we can decrease the number of elephants.
Shame, just put them in a van and take them elsewhere.
I mean, listen, the president of Botswana at some point was trying...
I feel sad.
The president of Botswana at some point was trying to donate elephants to other countries.
Thank you. That's the term.
And then other elephants were killed and made into food and sold to villages. But yes, trophy hunting can help in culling down the numbers of overpopulation of a specific animal that is causing havoc to the environment. So that's why I'm saying it can help in conservation efforts, but should it be banned completely? Knowing that it's just for fun, it's not really for giving food. It's just for fun, getting a trophy of that, the skeleton of that animal, the head of it, whatever it is, putting it on your wall. Should it be banned completely, or does it actually help when it comes to conservation in nature?
Listen, I have more questions. I think we need to book a conservationist in Uganda or, anywhere on the African continent. And they can answer some of our frequently asked questions around conservation, around animal welfare, especially with wildlife. So we're going to do that. But I just want to squeeze in my what caught your eye very quickly, because we've got a very important election that's coming up in Cote d'Ivoire. When we look at Francophone countries, the Ivory Coast has 32 million people, which also means that they are one of the biggest, in fact, the biggest West African economy in Francophone Africa, right? And we are watching protests unfold right now. There are thousands of people in the Ivory Coast that took to the streets in Abidjan, which is the capital city of the Ivory Coast. And they were protesting against the exclusion of opposition leaders from the upcoming presidential election that's going to be happening in October. So it was earlier in the year when 4 main opposition figures, including former President Laurent Gbagbo, as well as former Credit Suisse chief executive Tijane Thiam, they were barred from running by the Electoral Commission. So people are sick and tired of governments that are gatekeeping and kind of wanting to create spaces where they are in charge of democratic spaces like voting. And if you look at the footage on social media, I'm going to try and retweet it in my personal capacity as Mosito and show you just how many people are on the street protesting, against the exclusion of opposition parties. Because what kind of change are you going to see if you're still exclusionary? This kind of stuff cannot be allowed. So I think I want to be in solidarity with the citizens of the Ivory Coast, because an inclusive government is where we're going to actually see the change, right?
And in a democracy, is that not what we need? Opposition?
It should be standard procedure.
That's the whole idea. Is it
that
not
is
a democracy that there are people you can vote for, there are parties who represent specific views and specific, have specific mandate to serve whatever narrative that they want to serve, and we should have a right to vote for and choose whichever one that serves our interests and put them in power. So completely eliminating an opposition or oppositions, then you are just make yourself a kingdom. Then. Actually, who's going to vote for you as a king?
Nobody
but anyway,
is. But the thing is, also when we look at President Ouattara and him just wanting to fight his way into a 4th term, that's also just has been an ongoing problem. I mean, you're 83, get into farming. I don't know, get into conservation. Take care of the elephants, take care of the rhinos, do something else. Your life doesn't have to be over just because your political career is dwindling. You can do other things with your life and let a younger, fresher, air come into the political space and lead the people.
Wait, was Mandela the only one who sort of, shall we say, did it right? He had only 1 term, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and he didn't want another one.
Extra one. He's like, no, I'm fine. Other presidents, Paul Kagame, what? Hey, there are people who are hogging the power, man. They want to stay there until kingdom come. But anyway, thank you so much for sharing that story on what's happening in the Ivory Coast. Weigh in on that conversation on our WhatsApp line, +2 763 9126, and of course on TikTok as well at Channel Africa 1. Do we still, as Africa, are we a democratic continent, though? Is this something that was forced on us?
I think far from it. And also, I think a bigger conversation right now, as I'm kind of feeling it out, is maybe democracies are outdated. Maybe there are other ways that we can move the African kingdom forward, because it's clearly really not working for many republics on the continent. What are other ways that we can run successful republics?
It was never a democracy in Africa anyway, to start off with.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting concept that was brought to the continent. It's 2 p.m. It's 3 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest news with Jwalani Tulongwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories Asawa. Dozens of Malian soldiers arrested and opposition MPs detained in India. Good afternoon. Dozens of soldiers accused of plotting to topple the country's military leaders have been arrested in Mali. The arrests have been reportedly going on for a number of days. They come amid political tension heightened by the junta's crackdown of former Prime Ministers Moussa Mara and Choguel Maiga over accusations of harming the reputation of the state and embezzlement. Authorities have not yet commented on the arrests. In May, the junta dissolved all political parties following rare anti-government protests. The junta leader, General Assimi Goïta, who seized power through 2 coups in 2020 and 2021, had promised elections last year, but these have never been held. A representative of African People's Party of Cote d'Ivoire, PPACI, Dr. Jean-Nazier Oyuru, says there is likely to be post-election violence. Thousands of Ivorians took to the streets in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, to protest against the exclusion of opposition leaders from the upcoming presidential election in October. Earlier this year, 4 main opposition figures, including former President Laurent Gbagbo and former Credit Suisse chief executive Tidjane Thiam, were barred from running by the Electoral Commission. Last month, 83-year-old Alassane Ouattara announced that he would seek a 4th term. Oyuru explains.
Now, given that the ongoing exclusion of key candidates, outrage from the opposition, and historical precedent of violence following contested terms, I am afraid if nothing is done, I think that we are running into some violence again, unless the government just come back and set some talks to ease all these anger from the opposition leaders and the population.
Leader of South Africa's Democratic Alliance Party, John Steenhuisen, has taken a swipe at the upcoming national dialogue, describing it as an insider stitch-up designed for the African National Congress to revive its electoral fortunes. Steenhuisen was briefing the media at the party's headquarters in Bruma in the east of Johannesburg today. The DA was the first party to withdraw from the national dialogue after its Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Andrew Whitfield, was fired by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The Thabo Mbeki Foundation and other legacy foundations of stalwarts have also withdrawn from the national dialogue, citing issues around funding. Steenhuisen says the national dialogue is an illegitimate initiative that lacks all credibility.
As you know, the Democratic Alliance announced our withdrawal from the national dialogue weeks ago. It is an illegitimate initiative that frankly now lacks all credibility. And even former President Mbeki, who at the time was incredibly critical of our withdrawal from the GNU, which he expressed in an open letter, has now come to exactly the same conclusion that we came to, that this is an insider stitch-up.
There will be a thorough accounting of monies spent in hosting that national convention in Pretoria this weekend. Well, this is the assurance given by Director Nedlac Makuku Mampuru. Nedlac is working within the Secretariat of the Preparatory Task Team, which is organising the launch of the National Dialogue scheduled to sit on the 15th and 16th of August. Mampuru says that much money has been saved by UNISA hosting and providing catering for the event, preferential rates for transporting delegates and accommodating them in hotels, and donations from various organizations.
Most of it will be money in kind, but money in kind is not money. It's money in kind. It's facilities in kind, but all of that is quantifiable, and that is what we are doing. We are continuously keeping track of all of that, and when we close off the national dialogue process, we should be able to come back to South Africans and say, after all is said and done, this process that you had called for has cost us this amount, maybe $1 billion, but only 300 million of that was actually cash.
Indian police have detained opposition MPs protesting in Delhi against a controversial revision of the electoral roll in the eastern state of Bihar. The MPs, including the senior Congress party leader Rahul Gandhi, were heading to the Election Commission when police stopped them. Gandhi says the aim of their protest is to save the constitution. A draft electoral roll that the Election Commission has published has dropped 6.5 million voters from the list. Recapping the top story, the Sawa, dozens of soldiers accused of plotting to topple the country's military leaders have been arrested in Mali. The arrests have been reportedly going on over a number of days. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Webe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Six minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome back to The Upside on Channel Africa, The African Perspective, with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko, Mosito. With you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African Time. It's the final hour of the show. Can you believe it? Happy Monday to you and yours. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far, a productive one. And we're going to keep you entertained and informed and also inspired in our next conversation. As it is still Women's Month in South Africa, we are going to be celebrating a remarkable woman who is calling women to come to themselves. This month, during the month of Women's Month in August in South Africa, she says, stop attending these parties and these gatherings where there's no impact. You just talk. It's all talk. Let's do something even better. Let's come back to ourselves. She's got a retreat, a sanctuary that will be opening up soon. I'm very excited to find out more about it and how it's going to help people to come back and return to themselves. That's saying in by itself. How does one return to oneself? Is that even a saying? How do you even do that?
It's actually a powerful philosophy. If you don't return to yourself, how are you going to help anyone else? You really can't. You've got to understand who you are. And also, in you understanding who you are and your movements and your gifts and your contributions in this world, then you also get to understand that you are deserving. You too are deserving.
At some point you forget that. Or
yes.
Life blurs those lines.
Exactly. That you're not... Yes, you're here to serve humanity, but you're also here to receive. And you're also worthy of abundance. So I like the concept of Chateau Victoria. And our special guest, Makhoso Masingizondo, is the executive under this particular thing. She's the founder, I want to say, an executive life and leadership coach. And she's going to talk to us about, I really am interested in tapping into her mind around how she views a return to self for the feminine collective, and then how that's then going to not only pour into themselves and make them feel like they are deserving, but also how then they can just be a gift to everybody else.
And the reason I ask, how does one return to oneself? You need, if you're going to return, you need to know where it started. You need to know the origin. You need to know where.
Heal your inner child. Go through the wounds.
So we must go all the way back there.
And I promise you, well, I know people that have done the work, and it takes years, you know, and it's very easy to look at people and envy them, like, oh, who do they think they are? You have no idea how long it's taken them to be that person. So it takes a long time, but, you know, sometimes it really doesn't have to. You really don't have to hit rock bottom. And I think that's why life and leadership coaches like Mmatsheko exist, is to just show us that you can snap out of it. Yeah. You can awaken. And I think where the world is right now with, just movements of collective consciousness, you're able to get there quicker if you are willing. You've got to be willing. You've got to unlearn, and you've got to stop thinking you know everything and be an open vessel and go back to student settings, if I could call them that. No. At least, I'm not the expert. I'm not the life coach. Mmatsheko is. So we're going to find out what her philosophies are in her foundations of creating Chateau Victoria and what it's about.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Midday Vibes, great programming, and good company. This is Channel Africa. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the Upside.
Gute, Papa Falcone. Yambaloyo yaka na Bible. Nakoloba te, système eza ya Nzambe. Alobaka te, misala emonanaka kaka. Le grand monnaie R.O. Nathalie Bumba, zéro faute. Kaya Kaya Moucha. Joseph Berthier. Lucia Ibata. Emmanuel Kiamba. Robert Braza. Claudicia. Marius Bayende. J.R. Ecoli. Sam Pengombe, Kelvis Nkoi, Jenny, 7e royaume. Patrick Ponce. Jean-Jacques Tamboy. Boutique Elena, Mamana Salomé. Didas Pemelemlin, commandant Yoruba. Jacques de Kawele. Alain Lusubamba. Hector Goutienne. Del Pirlo. Nasce. Festa Gomez. Nasce. Bamama. Nasce. Biliston. Nasce. Angelo Central. Nasce. St. James. Nasce. Matata. Nasce. Inoel Ngoya. Nasce. Mama Rifana Londres. Tuba. Démocratie. Ballon d'or Thibaut Apula. Kajos Mafolo Kassinti. Liberté à bateau. Bruce Mpagni. Didier Pereira. Tutu Roba.
20 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time, double play there. The last song coming all the way from Congo. Congolese singer-songwriter Koffi Olomide with a song called Papa Ngwasuma. And before that, we had Azeshe by Mr. Lou, the stylist, featuring DJ Maporisa, the MFR Souls, and Tuto, the human. Again, I ask, when you name yourself, as an artist? What's the inspiration? What is the thought?
You have questions, sir.
Actually,
you have questions.
You know what? Actually, let me not judge, because I'm one of those people that just over lotioned with the tissue oil right now. I look like I've been eating fat koksamakwenya this whole afternoon. But it's 20 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. I understand we have an important announcement to make.
The SABC certainly does, all right? The South African Broadcasting Corporation, or the SABC as we call it here in South Africa. Well, we're pleased to announce the launch of the new self-registration platform. So this is an invitation for vendors that are wishing to do business with the SABC. You can self-register on the internally developed platform that is sabc.co.za, or you can actually, to make it simpler for e-tenders, you can self-register at etender.co.za, and then very simply just follow the prompts. So visit the SABC social media platforms if you'd like to get more details.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Thulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Thulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support kids across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside. On the Upside, your voice matters.
Leaving the moment, tomorrow belongs to God. Nothing can break me, nothing can bend me, nothing can bring me down. May love what you hate, we all deserve a chance. La 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 la. I don't go where no love, where my home. Caraibo, down Soweto, long, long way.
Show me love. I work hard. My brother man, I work hard just to chill. I live a life that's surreal. Every time I cool my temper, somebody wanna enjoy. It's not so serious. Yeah, you know I try to forget, get a hold of my head. I live a life so free, yeah. I don't know if I need it all, but I know I'ma take it up. Check yourself, you can have it all, love. Vanity, you can have it all. I don't see different kind of love, so I know if it's real enough. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't go where no love, where my home. Caraibo, down Soweto, long, long way. I don't go where no love, find my way. Caraibo, down Soweto, long, long way. Oh Lord, our Lord, lives won't be broke. Oh Lord, along the road, down Soweto, Caraibo.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
25 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Asha there, featuring WizKid with IDG. Welcome back to the Upside on Channel Africa, the African Perspective, with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We have a wonderful guest in studio. One that has inspired me personally, just based on what we were talking about earlier, about how we need to return to ourselves. It made me think personally. It made me reflect, especially after this week.
You are so dramatic, sir.
What? I'm not dramatic. I'm just saying. It made me think a bit about having to return to myself. And I think that's an important thing. We need to all do that. Do a bit of self-reflection every now and then. We get so consumed by everything live.
That's true.
We hardly take time to breathe.
100%. This is, this is monumental for us because since our move to a wonderful new studio, we are having an in-studio guest for the first time. Today, we're really going to take a deep dive beyond the usual celebrations that around Women's Day to really explore a powerful theme, how women can move beyond mere survival and really reclaim their inner wholeness. Okay, many women carry the heavy burden of always performing, showing strength on the outside while really hiding so much pain within. So beyond the polished success stories that we see in the magazines and on social media, there is a truth about, having sacrificed yourself and wanting approval from the external. So as we continue with themes around Women's Month, we're going to invite you to step into this conversation with us, but our special guest to help us honor this conversation and really talk about how we can move out of self-abandonment into a more wholesome self is Makhozo Masingizondo, and she's joining us in studio in her capacity as the executive life and leadership coach and the founder of Chateau Victoria. I hope I said that correctly. But she's here to really guide us through the journey of rediscovery and healing. Makhozo, you look absolutely stunning. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Lovely having you.
And welcome to the listeners.
Yes. I think I want to start with just your own personal journey. Okay. Because a lot of how we see business, how we see life coaching is informed by our own journeys. And our own trajectories and our own falls and rises. So talk to us just a little bit. I'm sure the journey is long and beautiful, but just briefly tell us your own journey and how it's shaped the business person and leadership coach that you are today.
Okay. Wow. My journey starts from humble beginnings, and from that, because when I was growing up, I was overlooked, or maybe people didn't take note of me. And I couldn't understand that. I couldn't get it because inside I thought I was this great person. How are they not seeing all of that? So, but it was because of lack, maybe I'd say poverty. I don't believe that I grew up poor, as much as we didn't have financially, but because of what I carried inside, I've always been wealthy. So I couldn't understand when a person looked down on me. Because I knew I was great. But then I had this thing of wanting to prove a point that I will show them. So I had this thing of wanting to achieve. And as soon as I got to understand that to be successful, the easiest way to be successful is to go to school, do this and that, and then you'll be able to be successful. Then I followed that path. So, and I made sure that I choose the most difficult course where I'll make sure that I don't stay unemployed, or immediately when I finish, I'm definitely guaranteed a job and that pays well, because I was all about proving to myself and to other people.
Nice.
So, and then that's when I went and I studied computer science. I finished, I got a job, I got to live the life, drive the cars. It really delivered in terms of that aspect. Stayed in the northern suburbs, all of those things that I wanted to tick. But after that, and then I went to work in terms of corporate, wore the suits, that life that we all believe it's success. But while I was there, I was never fulfilled. So for me, it was, okay, so what? I've done all of this, so what? I felt like there's more than all of this. So in a nutshell, that's that. And that's when I started a journey to wanting to understand who I was,
right?
Wanting to know myself.
Tell you what, Makhosa, we're going to continue on that, just moving from corporate into more purpose-driven work in just a bit. Let's take sports with Fikile Lingwati, and then we're going to get into econ. It is 3:30.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And in this hour, we kick off with football news. World Football's governing body, FIFA, has confirmed the dates for the next round of the matches in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. According to the schedule, Ghana will play 2 matches against Chad and Mali in September before wrapping up the qualifiers in October. The Black Stars will take on Chad on match day 7 and host Mali in a match day 8 fixture. Coach Otto Addo's side will face Chad at Stade Olympique Maréchal Idriss Déby Itno on the 4th of September before hosting Mali at the Accra Sports Stadium on the 8th of September 2025. Ghana sits atop the Group I table with 15 points, 3 points ahead of second place Comoros and 5 points clear of third place Madagascar, following 5 wins and a loss in 6 matches. The match between Ghana and Chad is scheduled for 1300 hours Central African time, while the game against Mali in Accra kicks off at 1900 hours Central African time. And progression in the group is the main goal for Bafana Bafana, heading into their second game in Group C in the African Nations Championship CHAN tournament against Guinea later today. The two teams clash at the Nelson Mandela National Stadium in Kampala, Uganda at 1400 hours Central African time. After earning a point in a hard-fought 1-1 draw against group favourites Algeria on Friday, Bafana come to today's game encounter with a lot of hope. Head coach Molefi Ntseki says it's important that they start to make their mark in this 5-team group.
So I think it will be a highly technical game. We have seen Guinea playing the last 2 matches, winning the first game and also losing against the host Uganda in the last match. I think we'll be going into this game fully aware that they are a very offensive team. They've got some very good individual players that can hurt you anytime given a chance. So we'll always give respect to the team and also zoom into those individuals in terms of how we want to play offensively, how we want to play defensively.
And Guinea, who are currently placed 3rd in the group with just 3 points from 2 matches, were hammered 3-0 by the host Uganda in their last game. Ntseki and his team are not reading too much into that, given the quality of their opponents.
We are looking forward to a very improved performance from the last game. As of now, we are placed number 4 in the group because we only have 1 point. So we are fully aware that we can't be at the bottom of the group. We have to dig deep in the next match we're going to play. And also looking forward to the 3rd game and to the 4th game, which will be the last game of the group stages. So all the teams have got 3 points.
And on to rugby news. The 32-player Springbok women's squad for the 2025 Rugby World Cup in England has been announced at the FNB Stadium in Nasrec. The Bok women will play the 7th-ranked Italy and 4th-ranked France in their pool matches, but they start against Brazil on the 24th of this month. Vice Captain Babalala Acha says this is the best prepared Bok women team she has been involved with.
Yes, we've had struggles. We've struggled together. We've trained exceptionally hard together. If anything, that is what brings us closer as a group. But I am confident. I speak for the team, I would imagine, to say that we are as best prepared as we can be going into the World Cup.
For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fikile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le diamant rouge et Binal Export depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
15:36 on the digital clock. We say good afternoon to Mosito Zuma. She's got the last update when it comes to business news for the upside.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Afternoon. In your business news this hour, the South African manufacturing output recorded its strongest annual growth for this year, rising by 1.9% in June. Now, according to Stats SA, the largest positive contributors to the growth included food and beverages and the petroleum chemical products, rubber and plastics division. Despite this improvement, the sector has been under pressure, weighing on gross domestic product in the first quarter when the economy grew by only 0.1%. Director of Industry Statistics at Stats SA, Nikolai Klassen.
Looking at the bigger picture, the second quarter of the year saw a turnaround. After a slump in the first quarter, seasonally adjusted manufacturing bounced back with a 1.5% increase in the second quarter.
The General Industries Workers Union of South Africa, GIWUSA, is calling for strict price controls on essential food items. It also wants the nationalization of the manufacturing of food to mitigate the effects of food inflation. The union has expressed outrage at a report from the Agricultural Business Chamber showing that food inflation has just jumped to 4.7%, a 16-month high. GIWUSA President Mametla Sibe says this is a brutal assault on the poor and the working class.
It is catastrophic because what you are looking at is not just the price of food in general. It is the fact that it is precisely those essential bodybuilding, proteins and vegetables as well as staples like maize, meal and sons that have actually skyrocketed.
The South African presidency says the total cost of hosting the national dialogue will only be made known after the conclusion of the National Convention's roadmap on the rollout of the event. It was responding to the public criticism of a reported $39 million reported cost of the event. Several foundations have withdrawn from the preparatory phase of the event, citing government overreach, a rushed timeline, as well as a lack of transparency and a confirmed approved budget allocation. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says some of the foundations that form part of the dialogue proposed the amount to spend on the event.
Then figure of over 700 million or 800 million came from some of the foundations, and immediately there was a great deal of discomfort on the side of the president and government. It's only after the National Convention has concluded the final roadmap of how the actual dialogue will roll out, can we then work towards a final number. So as we speak, we do not know what the final budget cost will be for the national dialogue.
The African Development Bank will contribute $500 million towards the financing of the new airport in Ethiopia, which is expected to be Africa's largest when completed in 2029. State-owned Ethiopia Airlines has signed an agreement for the design of the 4-runway airport near the town of Bishoftu, around 45 kilometers southeast of the capital, Addis Ababa. The airline says it will provide 20% of the funding for the $10 billion project, and the rest will come from creditors. And finally, Eurozone government bond yields have urged lower ahead of a week packed with event risk, including a Ukraine summit between the United States and Russia and a deadline on US-China trade truce. as liquidity evaporates. U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will meet on Friday in Alaska to try to broker peace in Ukraine, the first in-person meeting between a U.S. and Russian leader since former President Joe Biden met Putin in 2021. Your financial indicators: $1 US in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 531. In Botswana, it's 13.39. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 564, and in Zambia, it's 22.81. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 43. Russia is 79 rubles 86. India, it's 87 rupees 64. China, it's 7 yuan 18, and in South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 73. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,361 and platinum at $1,314 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $66.38 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Mosito Zuma.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's 42 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. I keep forgetting sometimes that we are on television as well. So I need to make sure that I align with the camera, that nothing is obscuring the view of our audience online, streaming us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa 1, on TikTok and on YouTube as well at Channel Africa, and Facebook is where you can see our conversations and chime in on these very, very important conversations. We are in conversation with a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady by the name of Makgotso Masingi Zondo. She is the founder and the owner of Chateau Victoria, a luxury sanctuary for soul restoration and lifestyle transformation. And she's calling on women this Women's Month in South Africa to return to themselves, stop performing, but to seek truth in knowing who they are. Makgotso, let's talk about Chateau Victoria, the inception point of this luxury spa. Tell us what was the idea behind it, and what work do you do now through Chateau Victoria before we get into the introduction of the Soul Spa?
Okay. All right, Chateau Victoria, as I say, return to self, right? I was returning to self, myself. So Chateau Victoria, it was about me returning to self. So I've got many gifts, but somehow they are one gift. They speak to the same gift.
Okay.
Yeah. So so a point came in my life where I had to look in terms of what do I have in my hand, where you have to be resourceful. Because I always believe, but I didn't know then, you always have something in your hand. And I realized, there, I've got this property that is not doing anything.
Okay.
And given the work that I do, this property can be used to transform lives. So I could turn it into something, to a sanctuary, because I've got a gift of turning ordinary into extraordinary. That's my gift. So I took this property and I turned it to an extraordinary place, a sanctuary. So I named it Chateau Victoria after my mom. Her name is Victoria. And why Chateau? Because I love French style, of which I learned that style from her. So it was only befitting for me to call it after her. I mean, if you go there, even the curtains, she used to work for interior decorators. So that's where I learned the interior aspect of things. Or that's where my gift of interior as well comes from. So I transformed the place to be what it is. You can check it out, Chateau Victoria. I'm definitely sure you will be wowed, because I gave it my heart, I gave it my all, because I wanted people when they come, and especially our people, we don't have access to such beauty, you know, and I made it accessible, even the pricing very accessible, because after I understood my audience, the people that I came here to serve on this world, understood that these are people who look up to others who are not really there, but they want to be there. So they have to be able to access this place, so they can see that we can also have this, we can also be able to be part of this. So hence I made it as beautiful as it is. It was so that can be a space where people, when they are there, they can reset, relax, and luxury, you know, mixed with spirituality. So I call it spiritual elegance. So that's part of it. So that's Chateau Victoria. So it started as a guest house. People will just come there, book for accommodation, can be their space, do whatever they'd like to do. But that was a means to an end. Then the end was always for people to be transformed. So I just didn't want people to just come there. So after part 1 was done, so it was okay, let's go to part 2, which is a soul spa aspect. So people, when they come there, are guests, they come, they book for a spa, and they get a massage, and then after massage they come for coaching. Why we call it a soul spa? Because often when you come for a massage, your body is aching. There's a root cause. You find that you are stressed, you've got issues. So hence, after you've got that massage, it makes sense that you come and deal with the real issues. That's where I step in as a coach. Then you have a session with me, and then we coach you, and then we go to the spirituality as well element of it. Where are you anchored? What's anchoring you? Because if you are not anchored, it becomes very difficult to deal with the challenges of this world. So that's where the soul aspect or the spirituality aspect comes up. So that's Chateau Victoria. So it's a space to reset, and we try our best to make it as private as possible. So when you come, literally you'll feel like you're the only one there. So we don't take too many clients at a time. So we only take a few by appointment only. It's in a quiet neighborhood. And if you even want to book and sleep there and leave the next day, if you take a full package, you are more than welcome to do that. And and hopefully you'll be able to reset and dream again, or whatever your challenge is.
I love that.
Chateau Victoria, aka Safe Space, Safe Sanctuary. Oh my goodness, I love it. I mean, you're ticking all the boxes: creativity, purpose-driven work. You also are very abundant. You are not serving to be self-abandoning, because that tends to happen a lot with people that are healers, essentially, is that they neglect themselves and give to the next person. So you are self-abandoned yourself, and I guess that's where the idea of the idea of returning to self before you can give to others comes from. But let's talk about women and where we are right now. And just processing our things, and stepping out of trying to impress the world and more into our authentic self. As I'm reading you right now, you are way beyond authentic self. You are iconic now, okay? But you see, that takes many years of cultivation, okay? Authentic self and then iconic. That's where you are. But you see, there are levels to this. But if I'm really starting at the beginning and I don't even understand the language, and I walk into the space and there's luxury and I just don't feel deserving, even though I'm a visitor, where do I start?
You start by booking. That's where you start. By booking, yes. And then hopefully, if you are listening, you'll be able to hear that Makhosi is just an ordinary girl from Soweto, and I promise you, you've got nothing to be afraid of. You just have to be yourself. So at the chateau, that's where masks fall. That's what the chateau is about. It doesn't mean beauty comes with you must be, I don't know, somebody else or whatever. No. That's where this is a perfect space for you to be who you are. We are not interested in perfect people. We want the real you. So yeah, so that's where you start. You just come, you know, it's a safe space. Trust me when I say safe, it's indeed a safe space, and you are in safe hands, because for me this is a gift. So I know all my coaches or clients, all of them, they felt safe, because as I said, it's not me, it's the gift. So that's where they start. You just book yourself in, and then from listening, I hope
we'll
you
take
can
it from
really,
there.
I hope you can really hear how this is coming from, you know, from just deep within. Yeah.
It's 9 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African time. We're going to take a quick breather. When we get back, I'd love for you to answer the question, how do we know, or how do I know if I'm performing or operating in my true self?
Okay.
That question is coming up next.
Broadcasting in 5 different languages, connecting the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Vue d'Afrique avec Joël Mouteba.
Cette peur d'un point de non-retour nucléaire suffit-elle selon vous à légitimer une telle offensive, Monsieur Talati?
Absolument pas du tout. Cela fait plus de 30 ans que l'Israël crie haut et fort sur les toits, où il veut se faire entendre que l'Iran serait à 1 an pour obtenir l'arme nucléaire. Parfois, l'Iran serait à 6 mois. Parfois, l'Iran serait à 2 semaines pour obtenir son arme nucléaire. Et curieusement, jusqu'à ce jour, il n'y a toujours aucune preuve que l'Iran a obtenu cette arme nucléaire en dépit des déclarations d'Israël et de certaines puissances parfois.
Vue d'Afrique, du lundi au vendredi de 15h à 16h, temps universel.
This is the upside for the best African vibes, groundbreaking content.
8 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue our conversation with Mmatsheko. A question I was asking earlier before the break, and in sort of coming back and returning to ourselves, as the theme is in this Women's Month, and you're asking people, and especially women, come back to yourself. How do I know when I am performing, or whether I'm operating from a place of, this is me, this is my place of truth, and this is what I know? Is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, I guess the first thing is to ask yourself, who's your audience? When you do what you're doing, who are you doing it for? Because most of us, for example, maybe you didn't pay that bond, or your kids are about to be chased from school. Most of us are worried, and because of what will people say. So you see, it's about people. The audience is people. You're not worried about self. And then when we do what we do, whatever we want to achieve, sometimes we want to achieve even the titles, or you want to study just so you can be respected.
Yeah.
You see? So it's about people, so they can respect you. It's not for something that you're doing for yourself. So you are on stage, you are performing, you want to be accepted. So it's not about you, it's about others.
Right.
So hence I always say, maybe it's always easier as well to return to your source. Because for me, personally, my source is God. I always say I live for one audience. My audience is one.
Yeah.
So if he's happy, then I'm good. So that makes my life so much easier. So there is no right or wrong. Even if now my tenses are wrong and someone is tweeting, did you hear this? I'm not bothered, because you're not my audience. You are not. You see, so hence I'm saying the question you ask yourself is, when I do this, who am I doing it for?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and why am I doing it? Is it for others so they can think this of me? Or is it fulfilling me? And you feel empty. So many women are successful. I'd say successful according to the world. But when they get home, they are very empty inside. They are not fulfilled. Some people, they could be driving women. I'm talking to women. Sorry, ladies, it's Women's Month, so I'm going to address you. We go for the cars. You go for this guy because he's got the things. But at night, when you're alone, you are empty. The world sees you as successful because you are driving this car. But when deep down, you know you're not.
Sure.
And only you know, because success, I always say you are the template. So you know what's right. Nobody else knows.
Right.
When I'm not doing my khotso, I feel it. I can fool you, but I can't fool myself. So it's that type of a thing. What are we pursuing?
Yeah.
And is it for the world, for people to think that we are successful? Luxury brands. You've got this bag, you know, and then peace is the new luxury. Because you don't have peace within your soul, but you carry the bags. So it's all about that. So return to yourself. And self comes with all of that.
It really does.
Yeah, if you were to do self very well, trust, wealth is for you.
Yeah, I think you've answered it right there in terms of, you know, just how does your life feel to you? Not how it looks to someone else, but how does your life feel to you? I've seen many women give that advice, and I think it's wonderful. Okay, I'm very interested to find out your methodology at Chateau Victoria and how it actually works. I was asking off the record now before we went on air, do you work with men? I'm going to rephrase the question, because I would imagine if I'm 50, male, I've been through maybe 2 divorces, you know, I've got 4 kids, life has happened. I've had life, you know, how are you going to then assist me? You know, you're just this gorgeous queen, and there's just this beautiful sanctuary, and I may not feel safe as a masculine to walk into that space. Do you have, so talk to us maybe about your team that is assisting you to serve different demographics. It would be very easy for me as a feminine to come in and get help from you because you're a woman, I'm a woman. You know, we see each other in that manner. But if Ntate Joe, you know, who's had this life, it would be difficult for him to perhaps speak to you. Do you have a team? Do you have other males that can speak to the males? I mean, how does it work in that setting?
Okay, so I do have a team, but it's specialist. Everyone deals with what they are gifted with. For example, Ntate Joe has, maybe he wants to book himself, he'll book. As I say to Ntate Joe, when he comes there, he's not going to see another Ntate Joe or what. He's going to feel like he's almost alone at the chateau. So it's a private space.
Right.
Okay, so, and he'll go, I'm sure he goes to spas, and then he'll go to the spa. The team that deals with the massagers will do that. And then we've got a private room where he'll come in terms of for coaching. And there's a form that we sign, which is ethics and confidentiality, meaning whatever that's discussed doesn't leave the room. So I'm an accredited coach. Right. So I'm bound by ICF to make sure that I follow the rules. So it's safe as well in terms of that. And yeah, you know, mostly Bontate Joe or whoever, they don't have a space or they don't have a safe space where they can go to. When they go to their wives, you know, and then when they go to their friends, they get judged. You understand? So they need it more than women. And they're the ones that get to appreciate it. Some of them are referred to me by their wives. And I'm like, no, she just wants to come one session, you know, after he wants to come for the next one and the next one and the next one. Because you don't know what you don't know. I always encourage them, just come for the first one. And then you'll take it from there, you know.
Okay, it's just so unfortunate we've had very limited time with you, but soul work is an ongoing journey. It's never a destination. So we would like to invite you back, you know, maybe on the next retreat, and we can talk about what happens there, who's invited to the, what do you call it, the soul
The Soul Spa.
The Soul Spa. You know what happens at the Soul Spa, and we can unpack that. But at this stage, we have run out of time. It is 4 p.m. But thank you so much for your work. You did mention that you are on social media if we'd like to follow.
Yeah.
And you know, where can we go very quickly to make a booking and to see the work that you do and just stick our feelers out in that manner?
Yeah. Social media, you go to Chateau Victoria. Instagram, TikTok, you'll find us, Facebook, and then me personally, Makhotso Masingi, that's my page. You'll find me as well on social media, and our contact details are there. I also have a website, www.makhotso.com. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Love it. From the Upside team, ladies and gentlemen, Africa, good afternoon. We hand over now. Africa in Business coming up next, but it's 4 p.m. Central African time.